Peter Cushing died in 1994. 22 years later, he starred in a new Star Wars movie, not in a tribute, not in archive footage. He acted, he spoke, he performed. And no, this wasn't nostalgia. This was business. Because Hollywood just discovered something terrifying. Actors don't need to be alive anymore. In the 2016 film Rogue One, Disney digitally recreated Peter Cushing to play the character Grand Moff Tarkin. Now, this wasn't some fan art project or a deepfake you'd find on YouTube. This was a deliberate, calculated studio decision, approved by lawyers, executives, and backed by contracts. They didn't just resurrect a man, they reused an asset. And once a line like that is crossed, there is no going back. The technology to do this has existed in some form for a while, but this was different. This was a major studio for a major role in one of the biggest franchises in history. The performance was seamless. Audiences saw Tarkin on screen, interacting with living actors, delivering new lines. The visual effects team at Industrial Light and Magic painstakingly studied hours of Cushing's old footage. They cast another actor, Guy Henry, to perform the role on set, capturing his body movements and vocal performance, which was then overlaid with Cushing's digital likeness. The result was so convincing that for many, it blurred the line between what's real and what's rendered. This wasn't just a technical achievement. It was a philosophical one. It proved that a performance could be manufactured long after the performer was gone. It set a precedent that your physical presence is no longer a requirement for your professional one. The estate of Peter Cushing gave its permission, but the implications go far beyond a single agreement. It opened a door that Hollywood had been waiting to walk through. And Peter Cushing wasn't a one-time experiment. He wasn't alone. Think about Carrie Fisher. After her tragic passing in 2016, she still appeared in Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Her face, her voice, her undeniable presence as Princess Leia was a central part of the film. How? They used unreleased footage from previous movies, digitally altering it to fit the new scenes. Again, this was done with the permission of her family. But that's not the real question we should be asking. The real question is this: if permission exists once, why wouldn't a studio want it forever? Why would they limit this powerful tool to just one movie? The answer is, they wouldn't. The technology has only gotten better since then. We've seen other examples, like Harold Ramai's and Ghostbusters, Afterlife. It's becoming a pattern. The one last performance is turning into the endless performance. Studios are realizing that a beloved actor's legacy is an incredibly valuable piece of intellectual property. And just like any other IP, they want to maximize its value. So while these initial instances were framed as tributes, as ways to honor a legacy, they were also test runs. They were proof of concept, showing that audiences would accept the digital ghost as long as it felt emotionally authentic, and they did. Let's be brutally honest for a moment and talk about the economic truth. Living actors are expensive. They're complicated. They age. They get tired. They negotiate for higher salaries and better working conditions. They have opinions. Sometimes they say no. Dead actors do none of that. A digital likeness doesn't demand a raise. It doesn't join a union or go on strike. It doesn't walk off the set because of creative differences. A digital actor is perfectly, completely compliant. From a studio's perspective, this isn't immoral. It's efficient. This isn't about art replacing humans. It's about labor optimization. Think of it like this. A studio invests millions into building a star's brand. Over decades, that star becomes an icon. Then, that star passes away. Does the investment just disappear? Not anymore. Now, that investment can continue to generate revenue indefinitely. The digital likeness becomes a perpetual asset, a tool that can be deployed in new movies, new commercials, new video games, forever. The upfront cost of creating the digital double is high, but over time, It's far cheaper than hiring an A-list actor for every new project. It removes risk, it removes variables, and it gives the studio total control. This is the cold, hard logic of business, and it's reshaping the entertainment industry right now. You might be thinking, how is this even legal? Surely actors have some control over this. Well, they do, but the nature of that control is changing. It all comes down to the contracts you never read. For years, standard actor contracts have included clauses like use of likeness, use of voice, and the really important one, use across all known and future media. Let me say that again, future media. 10 years ago, the kind of generative AI we have today was science fiction. But the legal permission to use an actor's likeness with that future technology was already being secured in contracts. This future wasn't an accident. It was prepared for. Hollywood's legal teams have always been one step ahead, crafting language broad enough to cover technologies that don't even exist yet. So actors, especially those just starting out, have been signing away these rights for years, often without fully understanding the implications. They didn't lose control of their digital selves overnight. They signed it away, slowly, one contract at a time, in exchange for a role, for a paycheck. Now, with AI able to create photorealistic performances from scratch, those old clauses have taken on a terrifying new meaning. The permission was already granted. The technology just needed to catch up. So why should this matter to you if you're not an actor? Because once a human face becomes a reusable, marketable asset, everything changes. Our entire concept of fame, of ownership, of legacy begins to warp. Your image stops being just you. It becomes a product that can outlive you, controlled by a corporation. And the scariest part? Most people will accept it. The audiences for Rogue One and The Rise of Skywalker largely didn't boycott the films. The performance still felt real. The story was still compelling, and that was enough. We are becoming conditioned to accept the artificial as authentic. This isn't just about movies. Think about social media influencers, news anchors, or even your own digital footprint. The technology to replicate a person's likeness and voice is becoming more accessible every day. What happens when a company can create a digital version of a trusted journalist to read news that is untrue? What happens when your own image and voice could be used in an advertisement you never approved? The ethical lines are blurring not just for the famous, but for everyone. The precedent being set in Hollywood is a test case for a future where digital identity is a commodity. So this brings us to the real question. This isn't just for actors anymore. This is for everyone. If a contract was put in front of you today, offering you a significant amount of money in exchange for the rights to use your face, your voice, and your likeness forever, in any way a company sees fit, would you sign it? Would you trade your perpetual identity for financial security right now? It's a heavy question, but it's one we all need to start thinking about, because Hollywood already knows the answer they want, and they are building the technology, the legal frameworks, and the audience acceptance to make that future a reality. Thanks for watching. If this made you think, consider subscribing for more content that explores the edge of technology and culture.